Hello everyone, Mrs. Fletcher here. It's lovely to see you, albeit remotely, and I hope you're all well and I hope your families are safe and well too. So can I start off apologising for the funny fan noise that you can hear in the background over my slides. It's my rather old laptop, so please excuse that. So the purpose of this presentation is to give you some tips for remote learning and how to cope with remote learning during this very strange time. So everybody deals with this in different ways, but I would like to say first and foremost that the most important message that you need to hear is that during this time you need to look after yourself and your well-being. So you need to be aware of what you need in order to keep yourself safe, and hopefully we can give you some tips in the next few slides. So this slide is about finding a good place to work. Now, everybody's home situations are different. Some people prefer to work in their own space, their bedroom. Some people prefer to work in a space that's with the family. All I would say is try and find a space that gives you a comfortable place to work so that you can set up your device, whether that's a laptop or something like that. Somewhere where that you can set out your equipment and materials, and somewhere that's organised. And I would advise you to try and keep this separate from the space where you go to relax, because I think it's really important that we can separate work from our downtime, our relaxation time. So another way of separating work from downtime is to perhaps wear different clothes when you're working, and then get into something more comfortable when you stop working. Another way of doing this is to give yourself a treat at the end of your work time. So I'm a big fan of timetables and scheduling the time that you've got to work. And then when you've finished your work, you can treat yourself. So whatever that looks like for you. So you could make yourself a cup of hot chocolate, or you could go for a walk in the fresh air, or you could listen to your favourite music, or you could make yourself a tasty snack, something that signifies I have now finished my work and now this is my downtime. So this slide is all about how we work. We all have different learning styles, all of us. So some people like to listen to music. Some people like to listen to certain kinds of music. So there's an argument that says that classical music, or music without lyrics, is better to work to. It's less intrusive. Now you might find that you have to work in complete silence. Now I find that as I'm a bit older, I don't really like much background music. I need it quiet to be able to concentrate properly. You might be completely different. Also, some people like to work alone. Some people like to work with people around them. So it motivates them more when they have people around them. You will know what works for you. Also, do you work best on a computer? So do you like to do things digitally, or do you like to work on paper, or do you like to do it first on paper and then transfer it to your computer? You will have a preferred learning style, and it's all about being self-aware enough to know that and to then employ it during this time.
Okay, so the next section of the slideshow is to talk about planning your time and trying to break your time up into manageable chunks and breaking the tasks down so that it can help you organize your time, and making sure that you've got time for yourself and making sure that you don't feel overwhelmed on the day. A couple of points on this slide is to say things that you have to work on, and when you've got the most energy, do the tasks that you find the hardest. So if you know you've got quite a big piece of work to do or a long answer to write, try and do that when you feel the freshest. Now everybody's time will be different when you feel the freshest. Some people prefer to work in the morning, some people prefer to work in the afternoon. That is entirely up to you of where you prefer to for your normal time, where you feel the most energetic, where you feel like you're the most productive. What I would say as a bit of a rule of thumb is that the best thing to try and do is trying to stick to your academy day. So think about the timings of the day that you've been working on since September, which has been a slightly later start for a lot of you. Some of you it's been a little bit earlier if you're in the younger years, but for a lot of the older years it's been a later start. So try and stick to those start times. And the key to this, and it's really important that you take this on board, is that at the end of the day, when your finish time is up, you set that finish time and you close your laptop or close whatever you've been working on, and make sure that you have time for yourself. Don't just keep going and going and going until the early hours, accessing work, accessing emails late at night. Okay, as a staff, as teachers, we don't work all the way through the night, we don't work really late, but we do have different working times depending on what we find easiest to work. So find what works for you, but stick to the timings that you set, and make sure that you stop when you say you're going to stop, but you also have to start when you say that you're going to start. So this slide is about planning your week and making sure that you're organized and have got things in the right place. So for example, making sure that in the morning that you're blocking out your Teams lessons. So making sure that you write in a little bit of a mini timetable about what lessons you've got on each day. Think about the start times, think about the end times. Most of your lessons are back to back. Okay, so they go period 1, period 2, period 3, and you will do 3 lessons back to back. Most lessons are between 30 and 45 minutes long, and you will have a short break between each session. I would make sure that I move away from the screen, go and get a drink, go outside, get a bit of fresh air. Don't just stay sat in the same place at your laptop waiting for the next lesson, or at your tablet or your phone. Making sure that you're moving away, moving around will just sort of like freshen you up, give your brain a little time to relax, all right, so you can concentrate ready for the next lesson. In the afternoons, your times are therefore show my homework and any small sessions that you might have been invited to, particularly for years 10, 11 and 6th form. They are used to help you support in the lessons that you're currently doing, so that it means that you've got more support there from your teachers. They are timetable lessons in an afternoon for small sessions. It's important that you have a start and finish time to the day. So if you're starting your day at 9 o'clock, I would strongly recommend that you aren't working beyond 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the absolute latest. You need to make sure that you have a cut-off time. Similarly, if you aren't starting your lesson till late, so your first lesson might not be till 10 o'clock, you might have to work a little bit longer. But the key is that you switch off and you have a time where you close your laptop or close your show my homework and move away and do something else. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to be away from the screen. So this is very similar to what I've just shown you, but a day planner. So rather than being a whole week, this is a more specific day planner. So you could have both, or you could have just 5-day planners for the week, or you could have a full overview. This might be somewhere where you put a little bit more detail in. So you might put in what specifically you're going to do in that English task. What tasks have you been set in English? Have you been set a challenge and then an aspire? Have you been set an extension task? Always prioritize the work that's set, and then if you can and you've got time, move on to the extension task. But the work that is set, some of it is for everybody to complete, and some of it is an extension task that if people complete in the given time. If it's an hour lesson that we would normally have, don't be spending 3-4 hours completing a task. Okay, the task will be designed to take a certain period of time. Don't be spending hours and hours completing tasks. Make sure you schedule in breaks, make sure you schedule in lunch times, and make sure that you're eating healthily. Make sure that you're taking food on board when you need to, water, have a set routine for that. So for example, on this day planner, it might be that you get up at 9 o'clock and from 9 till 9:30 you have your breakfast. Then at 11:30 you might have a break, and then at 1 o'clock you might have your lunch to then stop working between 4 and 5 o'clock. So make sure you are scheduling your day as you go through. So to-do lists are a good way of organising things that pop into your head. What you'll see in most classrooms with most staff is they will have a pad of paper on the desk or a little notebook similar to this one, kindly donated to me by Mrs. Fletcher, and in here I have all the things that I need to do on a daily basis. Each page represents a day, and I have a to-do list. So as things come into my head, I pop in there things that I need to do on that day, and then I tick them off. If I don't complete it on that day, I make sure I write it on the next day. I don't just sort of like leave it and forget about it and move it on to the next day. Some people, very successful business people, very successful people in industry, have pads next to their bed. So if they remember things in the middle of the night, or if they remember things when they're doing other stuff, they will write down on a pad of things that they just pop into their head. And it's a way of putting things that you remember at random times down on the to-do list, so that you, when you go back to it and you have time to complete it, that you sit there and think, right, what have I got on this to-do list? And then you can prioritize the jobs that you need to do. It's also quite a good feel-good factor when you start ticking jobs off. So you think, right, I've done that job, I can move on. Done that job, I can move on. Done that job, I can move on. So it means that things get completed, you feel a bit of a sense of achievement, success, and you can move on to the next things. It means that you're not missing things. It means that things are all in one place, and that you've got deadlines, so that you know what's coming up when, what things you need to do to complete. This is just an example of a to-do list. Dead simple. Write in thing that you've got to do, and then just have a tick list at the end. It doesn't even have to be as complicated on this. It could just be a list in a notepad on a piece of paper, somewhere that you're not going to lose. You might pin it up on the wall. It might be something as small as email my work, remember to access Teams, or log on to show my own work. Things that are going to remind you. This is for you, it's for nobody else. I have things in my book that I showed you before that say things like email, that say things like check work, things that I know that I would forget, little things, check ISAMs, that sort of thing. Make sure that I know what I need to be doing, and it's just even little things, big things, they can all go on your to-do list. So sometimes you have deadlines on things that you need to do. It might be handing in pieces of work, it might be getting back to somebody, and this to-do list sits alongside your other list. So this is where you can manage it to put when things are due. So big tasks, or it might be either mock exams, or it might be assessments, it might be purple time activities, it could be when you've got to hand in some work, is you put on the day that it is to do by. Alright, so you then can check the day before and think, right, by tomorrow I've got to make sure I've completed this. Again, it helps you manage your time, it helps you prioritize. All of these things that I've spoke about are designed to help you. Different people do things in different ways. Some people like to do them on a computer, on their calendar. Some people like to write them down. It is entirely up to you about how you use these resources. But they are all here to try and help you manage your time and not get overwhelmed, not feel anxious, and not feel like things are just piling on top of you. If you need any help with managing your time at all, get in touch with myself or Mrs. Jones, or even your form tutor, anybody in school, your learning manager. They're all there to help you try and manage your time. And if you need anything, just shout.
Okay, so this tip is about realistic expectations. This is about not being too hard on yourself and being realistic in how much you are trying to achieve. Remember that we're all human and we all need that time to relax. So think about what you're setting yourself to do in the day. Think about if that's realistic, and if not, try and adjust that to make sure that you can balance your work and your well-being. So deadlines are set as a guide. We need to try our best to plan our time and get that work in on time. But if you are struggling, please don't panic. You need to contact your teacher, let them know how you're doing. If things are becoming difficult to focus on, so if you're working away and you're struggling to focus and it's not quite your break time yet, take 5 minutes. Get up out of your seat, go and do something different for 5 minutes. Come back to it. Don't sit there working away, worrying about something. Take that time out, come back to it and decide if that would be the best time to continue it, or if that needs to go to one side for today. It's okay. Remember to be kind to your mind. We all need regular breaks, and sometimes they may not be the scheduled ones. So set yourself realistic expectations. Don't be too hard on yourself, and look after yourself. So this tip is letting your breaks be breaks. So actually making sure that in that time you give yourself as a break, that you actually give your mind a chance to rest and recharge. We can do this in a number of ways, and we all do this slightly differently. but switching off your screen, coming away from the computer, having some water, having a healthy snack, calling a friend, getting some fresh air, but making sure that whatever you do in that time, it actually gives your body time to relax, recharge, and ready to go again. So technology is a big one for us all at the moment because we're all relying on it. We all need it to be able to access our learning. So there are three platforms we are using at the moment, all identified on this slide, and we've got a few tips for you to help you to deal with those. So with Teams, when you go into Teams, if you click on the day view rather than the week view, it actually just puts that single day out for you. You can see what lessons you've got on, and it makes it a little bit easier to digest. The second thing is, if you've had all these calendar notifications of meetings and cancelled meetings, you can actually remove those cancelled ones from your calendar. So if you go on and click on that cancel notification and then click remove from calendar, that will make that go away, which makes your calendar a bit clearer to view. Try to do your work during those Teams lessons. So rather than feeling like you have to sit through and listen to that lesson and then go away and do the task, try doing the work during the lesson so that you're actually using that lesson time. On Show My Homework, check in once a day, have a look what's on there and plan your day accordingly. Think about the to-do list that Mr. Priest talked you through earlier. When opening a task, take a minute, take a breath, read through the instructions carefully before opening the attachments. Sometimes it's easy to think, well, I'll just click this because that will explain everything. Yet actually the instructions are much clearer and they would help you to understand the task a bit better. And that reduces the chance for people worrying and panicking that they might be doing it wrong. Finally, with your emails, so when emails come through with a notification about a lesson that's been scheduled or something that's had to change on a lesson that you've got scheduled, you will get a notification. Once you've read that notification, accepted any meetings that you need to accept, you can delete all those notifications. They appear as extra emails in your inbox, and that can sometimes clog up your inbox. So once you've read it and checked what you need to know about it, the changes will have been made on your Teams already. Therefore, you can delete those notifications and delete all of those from your inbox, which might make it look like you have a lot more emails than you do. Secondly, they show my homework notifications, so you will get notifications every time a homework is set and possibly when it's due, depending on your settings within that. So you can switch that off within Show My Homework if that's something that's bothering you. Otherwise, as long as you're checking in on Show My Homework and you know when things need to be done, then you could delete these notifications from your emails as well, again reducing the number of messages that you can see. That then leaves you with the emails that you actually need to deal with, and what you can do in there is to click on the actual message. There's a little flag button, so if you click on the flag, that means that you can then search by flagged items, which are the ones that are important, which you might actually need to deal with. Another way of dealing with your emails is to separate your inbox into separate folders, so that you have a folder for each subject or a folder for whichever areas you think is most appropriate. And this can then calm down how busy your inbox might appear at first glance. So this slide of tips is all about looking after yourself, prioritising your well-being. So well-being means you feeling happy, well and okay to go about your daily functions. Lots of people have lots of different ways that they look after their well-being. Some of the suggestions on this slide include making sure you get enough sleep, making sure that you have enough time for your body and mind to relax, get some good sleep, ready for the next day. Drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. Our bodies need water to function. Planning in your breaks, getting some fresh air. Exercise. In whatever way you enjoy exercise, it really does help and is scientifically proven to release chemicals into our body that actually do make us feel better. Virtual contact with family and friends for you to support one another in a safe way. Staying safe, whether this be online on your devices or whilst you're out doing exercise, looking out for yourself, making sure that you're doing the right thing and keeping yourself safe. Also following government guidance, making sure that we are following what they're asking us to do to keep safe in terms of coronavirus. So on the right hand side, I've put some self-care ideas. We all need to make sure that we make time for ourselves each day, and that whilst we are busy working and giving out lots of energy to our tasks and jobs and work that we have to complete, we also need to make sure that we allow ourselves that time to recharge at the end of a day. So some ideas that are on this slide, these are only ideas, you may have some of your own, include reading books, listening to your favourite music, having a cup of tea, watching TV or something that makes you feel good, something that's funny maybe, fresh air, exercise, there's lots and lots of ideas. One that I would like you to draw your attention to if you've not tried it before is mindfulness. So mindfulness is about being present in the moment and actually taking some time to give your mind a break. And it's really important that we do that in order to feel ready for the next task. So give that a go. Okay, so we've heard lots and lots of tips so far on remote working, and that's the point of this slideshow, to give you some ideas and some advice of things that might work for you. They might not, everybody's different, so select the ones that you think would be most useful for you. It's not intended as extra work, it's intended completely to support you and help you along during this time. So this slide is about asking for help. So if you feel like you are struggling with your remote working and you do need some assistance with that, it's about asking for help, reaching out and getting that help that you might need. So rather than worrying about something, please do contact your teachers. If you're struggling, that might be with the work or it might be meeting a deadline. Please remember to get in touch with us. We are all human and we are all here to help you. In terms of well-being, if things do get tough or you feel like things are starting to affect your mental health, please do reach out. You don't have to suffer. You are never on your own, and it is always okay to ask for help. So obviously you could talk to a trusted adult, talk to your parent or guardian, but there's also some support in school if you want to use that. So you could message your tutor, you could email a teacher, you could contact your learning manager. Out of school, there's also some websites and resources with lots of links and ideas to support you. And please remember that emails are not monitored 24 hours a day. So if you do have anything that is urgent, please do use the phone numbers and get more immediate support. So on the right hand side of this slide, you can see some student wellbeing support. So the top section in yellow is all the support services in school that could offer you help. And in the bottom section in orange are the sources of support from charities and organisations that support student wellbeing. Okay, the final thing to say then is working from home can be tricky. It can be tricky for us all. We've all got different challenges, but please be kind to yourself. Just do your best. You can only do what you can do, and remember that we are right here with you. We are working through it together. You've got this, we can do this, and if you need our help, all you have to do is ask. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.